Money is a symbolic representation of your ability to stay alive. Now, this is the number one paradox that crushes the life out of so many traders. Did you know that when you subject your brain to trading, you are subjecting it to its worst possible nightmare every day, every single time you trade? My name's Ash Playstead. Welcome to episode 25 of the Trading Psychology and Mindset Show. It is July the 6th, 2022. Wherever you may be in the world, welcome to the show. I hope you find it interesting, intriguing, enlightening, and helpful as you work to build the right mind and brain for trading success. That is what we do here. This is what we talk about. Everything needed to build the right mind and brain for trading success. So let's get into today's episode. I'll open up the chat box there. Anybody that wants to chip in with a question, say hello, please feel free. Now, this number one paradox, that money is a symbolic representation of your ability to stay alive. Why is this so? Well, every time you put a real trade on, you are in fact triggering an internal battle for your very survival, for your life. So what, may you ask, is a real trade? Well, of course, anybody that's traded, or even if you're thinking about trading, of course, part of the journey of learning to trade is simulation trading or paper trading or demo trading, where you're testing out a methodology or a system to see if it works, and you put it to the test in a simulated situation with essentially monopoly money on the line, not real money. That's as opposed to a real trade where it's your real money, your real capital on the line with the risk of losing. That is the difference. That is what a real trade is. Now, what we know is that the brain has evolved with a superior capacity to identify threats in the environment and trigger urgent and immediate chemical reaction. Now, that is an emotion. That is what emotions are. They are chemical reactions triggered by the brain as a response to a change in the environment, a threat. Now, these responses became known as the survival mechanism. You may have heard that terminology, and they were instrumental back in our evolutionary past, in humanity, our species, thriving and flourishing over millions of years. Now, in modern society, we commonly call this human impulse the fight, flight, and freeze response. And here we are in the present day, right? And we still have this primal impulse deeply hard-coded into our neural circuitry. And what you really need to know, most importantly, is that this reaction from our emotional core happens at lightning speed, far quicker than rational thought, the neocortex part of ourselves, the modern brain. And look, there is a lot of evidence now, scientific evidence, to show that the emotional response, the triggering of the fight-flight chemical reaction, happens in approximately 0.6 of a second, as opposed to the time it takes for rational thought to come online, which is about 0.25 of a second. So by the time your rational mind kicks into gear, it's already corrupted by the chemical reaction of fight-flight. That is the problem. Now, this is because over time and with much experimentation, speed of response, it was discovered to be the highest priority, i.e., very beneficial to our species survival. So it was discovered this is a great tactic to stay alive or to attack or get away from a threat than taking the time to consider options and make a choice. That rational thinking process that obviously humanity is blessed with, modern humanity. But back in the time of our caveman ancestors, rational thought had really not evolved. We were emotional creatures who developed this incredible lightning speed fight-flight response that became an evolutionary advantage and allowed our species to flourish. If our rational brain, if we had one back then and had have stayed in charge, we had a very immature rational brain back then. It was just starting to develop. If that had been in charge, guess what? We would have become another creature's meal. So over millennia, this trait continued to become key to human survival and ultimately in our ability to evolve into what we know as the dominant force that's populated the planet and continues to evolve. So you fast forward to the current day, and we now have this rational neocortex, our thinking rational brain, which helps us to achieve so much in the world, right? This deeply embedded need to survive, to conquer, to win, has been at the heart, right at the center of so much human achievement and progress over the centuries. So it's an amazing, wonderful part of our genome. However, right, beneath the neocortex resides our ancient emotional brain. It's still there. It has not gone away. Unfortunately, much of modern society has trained us to believe that we have control over our emotional self. Now, perhaps in some walks of life, this might be true. That is okay. Then we come to trading and everything changes. So this concept of the caveman brain and the role it plays in our evolution and what got us to today is really, really important and critical to understand as a trader. Because you know what? To our ancient survival brain, that caveman brain, which we still have underneath the rational brain, to it, putting real money on the line is tantamount to risking your life. Your rational brain might not think like that. And remember, your emotional brain doesn't think. It is simply a reactive chemical process that is triggered under the perception or the reality of threat. So money on the line triggers fight, flight, survival. That is a very important insight. Now, I want to talk about a very important distinction to understand and accept as well. This is an important part of understanding the difference between trading and investing. Now, you might be a trader, you might be an investor, you might be both. Now, with investing, the time horizon for your decision to be judged is measured in weeks, months, years. Of course, you've got your famous investors, your Warren Buffett's, your Charlie Mungers, and a litany of other famous and successful investors who work on decade-long horizons quite often. So in these situations, it's acceptable and far easier to ride out ups and downs in the market because you've got a long-term time horizon. Your rational brain, can easily stay in charge because there's no urgent decision required. However, when it comes to trading, the time frame for your decisions to be judged is compressed down massively, as you know, sometimes into mere seconds. So this is where things change really, really quickly, for your caveman brain. And all of a sudden, this time frame compression triggers your survival impulse via an emotional, chemical, and I want to be clear about this, emotions are not psychological, they are biological. It is a chemical reaction that then corrupts psychology. This is really, really important to understand. And this reaction happens so incredibly fast, so fast, in fact, that to the untrained eye, it is invisible. It is beyond conscious awareness. And by the time your traditional thinking mind has calmed down and started to assess the damage, it's way too late, particularly in trading, okay? So, I mentioned earlier, this chemistry of emotion is triggered and in your bloodstream in about 0.06 of a second. whereas the rational mind takes about 0.25 of a seconds to come online. So you can see why in trading, everything gets turned upside down. It's the emotional brain that is in control without you realizing it. And even if you do realize it, for a lot of traders, it's how do I get on top of it? How do I manage it? Now, this leads me on to talking about another really important insight, and that is that all thinking is emotion or emotional state dependent. Hello, Nestle, by the way. So good to see you. Thank you for coming in. I trust you well. I'm just sharing your comment there. And have a blessed day to my friend. And I appreciate you coming in to say hello. And I hope things are well with you. Now, here's the bottom line. You can't outthink your own thinking. You can't outthink your own thinking. Now, what does this actually mean? Well, it means by the time your neocortex, your rational mind, is back online, it is already corrupted by emotional chemistry in the bloodstream. Now, this is the thought process that befuddles and ultimately derails many otherwise very intelligent and very capable people who come to trading. And the reason it does is deceptively simple. That mind you bring to trading has always worked for you in the past. This is where the change is so deceptively simple that it's missed by the vast majority of people. The brain you bring that's brought you success and influence and outcomes in so many other parts of life, as well as I've mentioned, our evolutionary history, doesn't work in trading. This is the magic of trading, the challenge and the opportunity. So, in my personal opinion, this is one of the greatest challenges, if not the greatest challenge of trading, the ability to step outside of your current thinking and observe yourself, And this is the mindfulness that I teach to the traders that I work with, so that you can go deeper within and uncover why your existing beliefs, which may have served you so well in the past, must be reshaped to suit trading. It takes work, but it can be done. That is the very good news. Now, another insight. This is really, really key, that this is not your fault, right? And it's not something that you need to have from the outside. Your ability to change is inherent. It exists within you as potential. Every single person is born with the inherent ability to shape their own potential. The version of you that you identify with right now is simply the current formation of your potential. Now, all people, all traders have what is needed latent within them to become that master of emotion, that master of trading. Now, this may come as a surprise to you. It comes to a surprise, I should say, to many of the people I work with. They're expecting, there to be some miraculous external ingredient that catalyzes everything for them. And to be honest, and this might be you guys, a lot of people who get into trading spend months or even years, many years, searching for that external solution, a better system, a better coach, a better model, a better way of trading, when all the time they had the latent potential within them, right? Now, really, the truth of this situation is that it's through expert guidance, mentoring, coaching, that the pathway to discovering and bringing forth what you already possess is found. I just want to repeat that. It's through the right guidance, coaching, mentoring that you can go within and discover and bring forth what you need to become a master trader. So the vital message here is that you have the potential to be a master trader, a master of emotions, a master of self within you as a normal, standard aspect of human biology. It's inherent within you. We all have that. So the very first step here is to start to accept that focusing on personal performance under pressure rather than focusing on making money is the key shift needed. So this is the great paradox that this episode is titled after. That we come into trading wanting to make money. Of course you want to make money. Otherwise, why would you get into trading? However, at some point we must shift focus onto our own performance under pressure with money on the line, rather than focusing on the outcome, which is the making of money. This is the key shift needed. Then the real work can begin to retrain your emotional survival and fight-flight impulse, obviously, to be replaced by the curiosity and approach mindset. Now, of course, financially, it's still very important to have goals and formulas that you work towards. And again, here is the great paradox. You then must put these aside and get to work rebuilding your auto response mechanism to respond to something totally devoid of money. It ain't easy and it will take time, but it is 100% possible for every single one of you. I want everybody watching this episode to understand you have the potential within you. We all do. What is required is to accept that the mind that you've brought to trading and a focus on financial aspects of trading is an obstacle, a brick wall that stands between you and what you desire. And the way through, around, under that wall is to focus on reshaping your potential, reshaping your mind into one suited for the uncertainty and randomness of the markets and your own personal performance in that situation, rather than the making of money. So I hope you've really enjoyed this episode. I'd like to invite every single one of you to come and subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Trading, Psychology and Mindset channel. It's where I share all of these episodes. They're all stored there for future viewing. Come and check out my website, mindsetfitmethod.com. There's other information there. I've got a much lengthier 30-40 minute training webinar over there, and I'll put some more free trainings over there. So come and learn, come and investigate, come and discover. Reach out and book a chat with me if you want to know more. Always happy to help out. Otherwise, I wish you well, happy days, happy trading, happy life, and I'll see you next week on the next episode of the Trading, Psychology and Mindset Show. Take good care.